What's going on, you guys? Haven't had a whole lot of time, unfortunately, to be making videos. A lot of my things that are just going on in my life have sort of taken over, and it's become very difficult right now to put out, I think, higher quality videos and also do all the other things I need to do. Right now, I'm kind of going through the figs, and I've been picking just, getting this very short amount of time I have in a day. It really is about a very short amount of time that I've allocated to harvesting, and that's really basically all. That's all I'm doing right now. Other things are just a priority right now, unfortunately. I mean, I would love to do this. This is what I like to do. But I just can't do this stuff right now. So it is what it is. So I'm just going around and making sure I've got some fruits. And I just want to do one little tasting for you guys. It is amazing, I think, how quickly some of these figs back here have grown. They're spaced very close together, and for them to fruit optimally next year, they're gonna have to be spaced a lot further apart. So I may even consider, I don't know, maybe getting rid of some, lowering my numbers. I definitely have to do that without a doubt. But anyway, let's just go over some of these varieties here, because I have, first off, a lot of rain. There's SWD now, and there's the birds. The netting on the figs has done really well. I need to get a larger netting over these, but they haven't started fruiting too much just yet, whereas the other potted figs, I've lost a lot to birds. And I'm starting to lose some to splitting, and then therefore I'm losing them to SWD. There's some I lose to ants and maybe slugs, which then get infested by SWD. So this one right here has got some of that in it. Just giving them a smell, because I have, I know what that fermentation smell is, and if they're fermented, well, that's just not good. And also, they're probably infested with SWD, and at that point, I don't want to eat them. So this guy here, these are some that really get attacked by the birds. I have the net over it, but I think there's a few gaps in it. And these guys just, again, the birds just went to town. So I have to fill in the gaps in the net. This one smells like fermentation. This one looks slightly fermented, but it doesn't smell it, and I don't believe it is fermented. This one's not fermented either, but the fact that the birds got to it, I don't want to even bother. This Rosalino sort of smells fermented. I'm not even going to bother. So we're down to about 5 figs today. This is Italian 258 that I don't even know if we can count this one. Let's it's probably not even really ripe. It's not bad. It's definitely not ripe. It's so hard to get one of these perfectly ripe. It just blows my mind. It's such a great fig, but I can't get them perfectly ripe. And therefore, they're just not good. In this particular state, they ain't that good. I mean, that wasn't bad, but I'm not going out of my way for an Italian 258 that has split on me. Now, I gotta clean my knife here because it's, what a mess. Here's a fig right here called baccarino, and this is a Portuguese fig. Really, I don't know what this is. In fact, It's only called baccarino because that's what a Portuguese nursery had called it. But who really knows what this fig is? And in my mind, it's not very good. Produces a lot of figs that actually ripen at a earlier point of the season, but you can tell just by looking at it, it's just not a good fig, and I've had it for a number of years, and I don't know if it ever will. So I'm not really going to keep it. I'm going to get rid of this at some point, but well, actually that one was pretty good. They are okay. I'm not going to say it's a bad fig, but it's not a top tier fig, and it probably never will be. And I have other figs that ripen at just the same quantity at an earlier date probably, and they're better. So for me, it doesn't make sense. It might make sense for somebody else. Personally, not a fan. Here I have some hative de Argenteuil. This is probably the most beautiful fig I grow. I say that sort of often, I guess, but it really is. It's gray. It's got some purple in it. It's got yellow. It's got some green in it. It's so beautiful. It's got nice cracks in it every so often here as it starts to get softer. It is a relatively soft fig. It puts out a lot of honey. These are an absolute treat, and these are really, it's hative means early, but in all honesty, it's not. Oh my God, that looks so good. It's not early. It's probably mid-season. Oh, this one's spoiled, or at least it looks spoiled. Goodness, does that look good though? Oh, it's so tempting to eat. Here, let me show you. Holy crap. So you can see on the smaller one there, the interior has got some of that brown in the center. Let me fix this. There we go. And it's tough to make out maybe because of the shadows, but in the center there is some brown, and that brown is definitely not a good sign. I wanted to really get that photo of this fig because it's so good. It tastes like cherries. This is really the only fig my mom likes. Oh yeah. I think it's definitely one of my favorite figs. I have it in my list as one of the figs I recommend. The jam and the honey in this fig is insane. I'm gonna eat this one here, which was a little bit spoiled on the inside. I think I was saying fermented, but really I think it was spoiled is really the right word. Not fermented at all, but the inside on some of these can spoil, especially in really hot conditions. You guys out there in Arizona and California, a lot of these figs could potentially spoil for you guys if temperatures are like consistently at 100. Wow. That one's real good. I'll tell you what, that fig is, it's really matured over time, and it's probably a 5 out of 5. It's at least a 4.5. Excuse me while I am amazed by this fig. This fig's as good as Smith. That fig's very, very good. Very reminiscent of Smith. That's interesting. The flavor is very similar to Smith. So if you've had a Smith, you know what that tastes like. But this has got a little bit more cherry to it. Yeah. Whereas Smith, I think, has a acidic bite, but I wouldn't call it cherry. Oh man, look at this fig. Now this one's been really impressive. Now normally they're a little bit bigger than this, so I wouldn't necessarily judge this one on the size. Oh no. But this is called Rosalino. an Italian variety that I could have sworn was very similar to Hardy Chicago, but it's not. It's pretty distinct. It's pretty distinctly different, although the appearance of it does look quite different. You can see how dark red that is. It definitely looks like it got a little bit too much water. And Rosalino is a fig that's known for its drying capabilities in Italy, in that they will dry them on the tree or pick them and then dry them. It's a custom. I don't remember which province of Italy that these are grown, but wherever it is in Italy, they consistently grow these for drying them. And I'll tell you what, that's a really amazing variety because it has such a short hang time and it dries very easily. So for me, it actually sort of tastes like Hardy Chicago as well. So hold on, let me try it. Yeah. But it literally tastes like candy. This is like a fruity candy. It's so good. In fact, I would argue it beats every single Hardy Chicago type I have. So it beats Azores Dark, it beats Malta Black, and it sort of tastes similar to it. Will I replace my Malta Blacks and my Azores Darks with that fig? Probably one day. Because the reason for that, well, first off, the flavor is not exactly the same. So, you know, hard to say if I really want to get rid of one of those. I would say the flavor is closer to the Azores Dark than the Malta Black, but the short hang time, because Azores Dark and Malta Black, guys, they have to hang on the tree for a long time, and then they start to dry. But once they start to dry, after they've already hanged for a long time, that's only really when they get their best flavor. All these people, for whatever reason, review these Hardy Chicago types and think they're all the same when they're not even ripe. It doesn't make any sense. It blows my mind. These people should not be allowed to review varieties, I think, because they're just not doing it properly. If you're going to review a fig, first off, we did review pretty much all the figs we just reviewed, except for Italian 258, were perfectly ripe, or at least to the most ripe that you're going to get them here in this climate. If you are not, really experimenting with the Hardy Chicago type, and you're not picking them, let's say maybe a couple a little bit early, then you're letting some hang a little bit longer, then you're letting some hang until they start to dry on the tree. If you're not picking them at all the different stages and tasting them at all the different stages, how do you even really know what they taste like? For me, I judge these figs and I compare them all to when they're perfectly ripe. So I compare a perfectly ripe Italian 258 to a perfectly ripe Black Madeira, right? It's pretty similar. Now, would I say that this Italian 258 that I ate is the only, is what I'm going to judge it on forever? No. So it's a shame that to see people review some of these figs sometimes, and especially the Hardy Chicago types, which are so misunderstood, when they're not even really perfectly ripe. This is probably one of the best figs that I've just had really recent experience with. And some people, a lot of you guys should know what this is, but I bet you everybody in the comments has no idea. And I bet you a good amount of fig experts don't know what this is either. This is a fig called Lsu Purple. And it really does resemble, on the exterior, the shape, the colors, the cracks, resembles a Black Mission type. Really similar to a Black Mission. But the interior is amber. It's starting to get a little dark red in there. Short hang time, good rain resistance, early fig. It's probably about 2 weeks after the earliest varieties, I would imagine. Maybe a week or two later than, let's say, like something like Ronde Bordeaux. And it took a while for this fig to mature, but it's not difficult to get them to this ripeness level. They're like perfectly ripe, oozing with honey, gooey, jammy, very, very soft. Man, that's really good. And there's a consistency about it that I've talked about last year. Not a consistency, I'm sorry, a flavor about it. The skin is like cinnamon-like, has spice flavors to it. It's like eating jelly of It's like eating a jelly with honey and melon flavors and brown sugar flavors with a touch of cinnamon. It's eating a figgy jelly with brown sugar, honey, a little bit of melon, and cinnamon. That's a really good fig. And I can see why people wouldn't necessarily be a big fan of it because of that skin. That cinnamon spice flavor to it. I could see how some people won't like that, but that will, I think, always be there in the fig. As I have other varieties, Nerucciola de Elba, White Marseille, I think even Sweet Joy is one of them. Yeah, Sweet Joy. They have an interesting spice flavor to their skin. So if you eat the skin, you're gonna get that spice flavor. And I personally think it's awesome. I like the complexity of it, but some people probably wouldn't. And I think that's why Lsu Purple gets a bad rap. But for me, actually, I really like that fig. It's not difficult at all to get it perfectly ripe. I would say the amount of time that fig can be attacked by something is rather low. So as I've mentioned with the hang time, and how that relates to rain resistance, you know, critters and insects and things not getting to it, it's got some of the best ability because of its short hang time like that. Same thing with Rosalino, big fan. All right, guys, I have to go play some tennis now, assuming it doesn't rain. Nope, we're canceled. All right, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys are staying safe out there and getting more time amongst yourselves. Not like me, you're getting run around like a crazy person, having to, you know, deal with a lot of things at once. But hope everybody's doing well. And I should be getting really into my fig season now. We're entering September. It is the 31st of August. Around, you know, September 1st is really when I get the most amount of varieties ripening at one time. So it's probably the best time of the year to start comparing. But really, once we get to September 15th, as really it is right now, it feels like the fall. It feels like the beginning of our fall. Fall is coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if it cools down real quick here, because it has been so blazing hot for most of July, most of August, even parts of June. So I think the law of averages are going to come in here. We're going to have a pretty darn cool fall, and that's probably going to put a little bit of a damper on my fig season this year. Not really the most successful season, I have to say, guys. Quite a disappointment overall so far, but